Turtles. You know of sea turtles.
Don't know if you like to see me out there in need while I'm struggling to breathe on my own. I won't turn my back on you.
Welcome back to another exciting week of RSC's The Pre-Jump podcast. Joining us, we've got a few new faces on for the first time ever. We've got Mr. Tyler D, a younger-looking Bradley Cooper himself, Mr. Moose. Both of them are AGMing. Mr. Tyler D is AGMing for the Cosmos, Mr. Moose AGMing for the Mythos. And who can forget our main man, Hum, returning live. We were supposed to have Rob, but he's playing hooky with another friend. He couldn't. He decided not to be on the night. So here we are.
Those dang GMs. Him and Irish are hanging out right now.
There's Irish
Dang
over us.
GMs. Him and Irish are hanging out right now.
Can't believe it.
I say you can't leave your AGMs unattended. That's how we get into trouble.
So who are we taking over?
Who are we taking? Oh my god.
Wait, I let Rob take over me. Hold on.
For those of you who are new here, just want to point out, can't even speak tonight. God, I'm completely sober too. It's just wild. With having some new people on, we're getting the new season kind of underway. We're going to be talking tonight about a subject we've never really covered before with new player orientation. Normally, you would see us kind of talk about some different segments, like maybe doing some like top 10s throughout the season, who to look for in the draft, but gotta have a good little fun, first time for everything kind of stream. So getting us kicked off though, Mr. Moose, off season. We have the dates posted below. We're talking about, we're getting pretty close. The draft lottery stream. That's only tomorrow, right?
Yep, it's coming up quick. T-minus 24 hours.
God, I don't even know if it's T-minus 24 hours at this point, because I think Fiend said he was going to try and
23 hours,
yeah. Early. Yeah, he's going to get kicked off a little early this season, I think.
We're hoping for 8, I think, right?
8,
I say.
That sounds about right.
Yep, and Fiend's already roasting me for my stellar sunburn. So yeah, my math skills and my sunscreen application could use some work. But yes, we do have marbles Monday, so it'll be soon.
As a
Trademark
fairly
soon.
pasty man, I'm just saying aloe vera goes the distance. It is.
It
you,
does.
you might need some, man.
Just a smidgen, but that's all right.
But Moose, what is our next kind of big deal? Like, what should people, especially our new players, the people who are going to be joining us for the first time ever, outside of this draft lottery, what should they be paying attention for? What's going on?
Yeah, so the draft lottery, as far as a new player is concerned, means almost nothing outside of watching fancy marbles go down a track. But in terms of what that matters to them is probably almost negligible. Our new players, they're gonna want to they're gonna want to keep looking at combines because that's how they're gonna get scouted. That's gonna how they're gonna be, getting the GM's interest, getting the scouts' interest. So that way, when we do come down to drafting and it comes down to preseason, you want to get drafted high enough as possible. So that way, if you do have, a bad preseason match day one, um, you know, it's a lot harder to let go of your first round pick than it is your sixth round pick. So, we still have a few more combines, and then after draft lottery, we get Hell Week for the GMs. They're going to be running around hitting all the transactions. New players, they just got to focus on being in combines, trying to look good, as cute as you can in your Octane and Fennec decals. And then they'll have to wait till, what is it, next Monday when we actually see the draft go through?
Yeah, should be next Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Believe so.
And that's going to be where the real fun kicks off. Because RSC is going to turn on their most popular screen where everyone stares at a spreadsheet for about 3 hours straight.
Gotta love the
Uh,
spreadsheets, man.
So we'll give a shout out to Fiend Burn, the big man himself, because we're going to hear his smooth voice try and get through every single name on that draft sheet. And he'll be managing that. And then if you're a new player, you just got to wait till you hear your name called. All the GMs will come up. They'll say, "Hey, I want so and so."
Man, you're rolling. We're talking about I want to get you started on combines, not get you rolling through the whole sheet without us, man. Come on. No, I was gonna say, combines, really important portion. It's where we get to see how new players are, and especially for a lot of DEs that we've never seen before. It's the best place. It's the best place where you can get your eyes on them, see if they're going to be worth a while, and if you want to try them out. Yeah, Panther, I went in and turned that down just a wee bit. Hopefully it's a little bit better for you going forward. I don't know why it was so loud to begin with, but hopefully it's a little bit better for you. Anywho, no, I was doing some, I was actually doing some scouting. I've been recruited to coach this season for some lower tiers for the bakery. Get some extra hours in, and I gotta say, there's a lot of DEs this season. There is a lot of people I was looking at, looking through the tier list, hey, is this guy, oh no, he's not a free agent. He's a draft eligible. I'm gonna have to, just keep an eye on him. But how important is it for you guys with the combines to really get a good look at some of these incoming DEs who have never played with us before?
Combines are huge. Like you said, the new DEs, we have no prior stats on them. I mean, sometimes you have returning players that took a season or two off, which, we have that history there, but it's a first look, and, it's the first stepping stone to getting them to, a private tryout that we can't host during combine. So it's huge. If you are a DE, I would highly recommend hopping in these combines. So the GMs, the AGMs, a couple franchises will have their own scouts that aren't necessarily management. So get in there, show us what you got, and then hopefully you'll get invited to a private tryout, or the GMs will just be like, check, this dude's him. He's going to be a top priority for us.
Yeah, and something that I really use combines for is figuring out who those DEs are and really what their personalities are. Because for a lot of players, I've seen how they interact in the league before across the past seasons, if they're an FA or if there's somebody who's trying to try out as a player who's already been in the league before. But for these new players, we really don't have a baseline on who they are, what their personality is like, and what their ambitions are in the league. And I feel like those things are also really important that a lot of managers take into account when building their teams.
For sure.
I mean, 100%. I mean, you don't want to get a player who doesn't really want to grow. I mean, especially when you're talking lower end, where you're going to be getting a player who potentially could be, developing throughout the seasons, being a big part of your franchise going forward. You want somebody who's going to want to grow, who's going to be okay with coaching, who's going to be like, hey, when's next game night? When are we playing? Like, you want that guy. You want that hype, that vibe. And it's
100%.
I think for amateur in twos, I think that was one of our we had a little questionnaire for everyone. I think that was our biggest question was, do you want to play on off nights and do you want to get better through coaching? And right now, I think our twos amateur team is 9-3, so they're ready. They're ready to roll. That will be the biggest thing for any DEs in the amateur contender tiers. Just let them know that you're here to cook.
Yeah. I would also say too. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, man. I'm not trying to talk over everybody.
Yeah. So I would also say too, just in addition to figuring out the vibes, and I'll even shout out Lox in the chat over here because Lox has been a huge vibes guy. He's he popped in first over at Destined, followed me over to Mythos, and he's even helped me out with some like Call of Duty tryouts for my esports org for for the colleges. So it's cool, it's cool getting good people that you can legitimately hang out and game with, outside of RSC. But also too, one other fun point for combines is it also gives a lot of players a good idea for where they're at relative to everybody else, especially you're a first timer here and you may never have really done any organized esports or a league or anything like that. So getting used to playing with teammates, and not just grinding solo queue, and getting spammed what a save every time you miss or whatever. Like, it's nice to actually interact with actual humans who want to hang out with you, rather than being, randomly queued in with the matchmaking. So, combines give you a nice little taste of everything, I think.
You're telling me you don't love solo queuing?
Oh, yeah, you know me. I'm always on that grind.
So, I'm glad we got both of you guys on for this week because you probably got some keepers, right? Some people you're looking to keep around for next season that you're probably holding some draft picks for. Explain kind of how that works for our newer members. Like, what is the importance of keepers and why do you keep draft picks eligible?
So keepers are assigned a certain round that they have to be drafted in if you want to retain them. So if you have a guy, let's say from a previous season, that played really well in the tier, let's use contender for example. Let's say he was on a playoff team, he was maybe the third man, and at the end of the season, he stayed contender. He didn't get promoted to the next tier up, which is prospect. And we're looking at this from a team building spot, and we say, hey, this guy was a huge and integral part of this playoff team. We should keep him around. So maybe his two teammates got promoted up, or maybe one got demoted, who knows. We'll kind of start building our team around him, perhaps. And let's say he's a second round keeper, so our second round pick in that particular draft will just be used on them. And it's just a free and easy way to start somewhere with the team. It's so much nicer to have a keeper than it is to just go in with nobody and just hosting all these tryouts, going to all the combines to see who's new. It's always nice to have at least one keeper, and then sometimes two.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and also, just really quickly, how keepers are assigned, just for players that don't know that and who are new to the league, is every player in the tier gets a number, and that number gets divided by the number of teams that there are in that tier, and that's the total number of rounds that will be in that draft. So let's say, for example, there's 100 players in a tier and there's 10 teams, then there will be 10 rounds in the draft. In RSC, most of the time it's something like there's 120 players and there's 30 teams, so there's going to be 4 or 5 rounds in that draft, and all of the players get divided up into usually 6 or 7 rounds, and then from there all the players will be given a keeper round. And all of the players includes all DEs and returning players, so everybody is ranked into that, including those DE players and FAs. So if you're an FA, you can actually get signed during the offseason and then be kept in that keeper position, rather than having to be kept over a contract in a keeper position like that. But that's all I had to say. Sorry, boss. Keep going.
No, man, no. This is the information that a lot of our new people need to know, and quite frankly, I love when you guys just jump in there and just keep going with it. It's less time for me to have to formulate what I'm saying, and less time stuttering on stream. So I'm all about it. I'm all about it. But that kind of takes care of picks. It takes care of the keepers. Talks about a little bit about contracts and how that works. But did we actually cover how contracts work for anybody?
Not yet, but we
No,
do
not
that.
yet. We haven't talked into that yet.
Moose, my man, my quiet man over there, let us know how contracts work.
So I say quiet. I say don't let me get started. I'll keep rolling. But no. So contracts. I would say just like your standard NFL or MLB contract. Granted, it's a lot more. It's a lot more simplified than those. But long story short, when you get signed to a team or you get drafted to a team, you basically enter a 2-season contract for that franchise. So if I were to go ahead and get signed to the Mythos, for example, I am technically stuck with them for 2 years, or not 2 years, 2 seasons. Sorry.
That would be a long
Stuck,
time.
my man. The language you're using makes it sound so terrible.
Well, it's not like it's a terrifying place or anything.
Oh,
I heard your
But-
GM can be a bit of a hard man.
Oh yeah, he's not great with roller coasters, but outside of that, he's pretty good. But
God.
anywho, I got some great pictures for you guys later.
100%. You can put that in workplace gen chat. I would love to see.
But the other sorry, I got derailed from that roller coaster. But contracts, so I'm on a 2-season contract with a team. So I'm with them. We play out the season, everything's hunky dory, right? And then we get into the off season here. What happens a lot is during the off season, because our salary values will change, or that keeper round value will change during the off season. Once Numbers has a chance to look at us and be like, hey, you've gotten pretty good, let's send you up. My GM might decide, hey, I'm a little bit too expensive now. Let's trade you out to another franchise that might have a better spot for you. Conversely, too, they might also just select to say, you know what, Moose, you really haven't gotten any better. You're not exactly a huge vibes guy for us. And frankly, your AGMing, it hasn't done anything, so we're going to have to give you the scissors. We're going to axe you. They'll send me to free agency, at which point, I could go kind of start looking around the league and, attending combines and seeing if any other GMs are interested in bringing me aboard.
100%. And I can say for clarity for a lot of people, especially having been in free agency a few times over the last couple seasons, free agency is super important. If you get on your team, you get drafted, and you just don't make the roster, you don't make the cut, the season's not over. You're still a free agent, you're still available. Make sure you're still staying in contact with different coaches, staying in contact with different teams, showing up to 6-man, staying an active part of the community, because that's how you're going to get picked back up for another team later on, especially when people need to make a mid-season roster adjustment because they're just not playing out. Not everybody's going to be the best record, through a couple weeks, so that's who they're going to look for, are the most active. So please, even if you get cut after the draft, just stay active, just stay present, and you'll likely make a team.
yeah.
I mean, that's what
And
happened
also,
for me. Sorry.
another thing that
Okay.
you guys can do. No, totally fine. Another thing that anybody that gets cut can do, and actually
Dev
roster
League,
players
oh
as
my
well,
God.
is the Dev League. Yes, there you go. Forgot all about it.
totally
you.
forgot.
Yeah, the Dev League is awesome. Is one of the story. If Moose is a great guy, like I assume.
Ooh,
Uh-oh.
your mic is cutting
Audio's
out on me,
choppy.
man. Did you slap your camera or something? What's going on?
I have no idea. Does it work?
Oh, that's better.
I think so.
All right. Sorry. There's one more situation that Moose didn't quite get to. Moose is a great AGM, finishes out his season contract, and Tech 4 decides to re-sign him. That contract is only a contract. Anytime, it'll be a one-season contract.
Was that choppy for everyone else?
Yeah, I was gonna.
Hum, you're
Okay.
dying on us, man.
I got at least most of it out of there, but
He was saying that if you are a free agent, I believe, and a GM picks you up, or they sign you to one of their teams, your contract is gonna only be a 1 season length instead of a 2. Is I believe the point that Hum was trying to make.
exactly.
And then, do one of y'all want to dive into the Dev League a little bit?
Oh
Hum
yeah,
made
I
a
was
great
gonna
point
backtrack
about
for
that.
that, so we can make
Yeah,
sure
for
we
sure.
cover that a little bit. For those of you who you want to get better, you want to get some extra matches in through the night, or maybe you're a free agent trying to keep active within the league. You can go to Dev League. They start up an hour typically before any form of scrims will go, so you can get in there. You check in for the day in your the free agents tab. You can do what is it? ? Check-in CI, I believe. It should be like ? CI or something like that. But
Yep.
you check in. You can pop over to Dev League after you hopefully you've registered for the day, but you get into the matches, you play some matches, you get warmed up. Then a team can still reach out to you and say, "Hey, Tyler, we need a guy for Prem right now. Like, can you come sub for us for Prem, please?" And they could, and if you agree to it, you can get picked up, But Dev League gives you a spot if you're an active player, if you're a free agent. Just somewhere to go to just play against people, generally in your tier, in your area. I know sometimes if they're light on Dev League population, they'll kind of combine a couple together, but it just gives you a spot to really hone your skills and get some extra games in. It's a fantastic play, and I believe Blister's still running that pretty well, right? I believe he's still got a
I
handle
believe
on that.
so. I'm fairly certain there.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
his love child.
He is still running it, and they are actually posting all the Dev League stats on the website right now.
Ooh.
Every season they post those up there. I believe also, we'll get into it later, but in League Info, SPV and IDR are both listed for the Dev League. And that's actually something that I look at when I'm trying to make midseason changes and finding players that might be free agents.
I did not know the Dev League had the SBV and IDR tie-in.
Yeah.
Why did I
That's
tell
cool.
you?
Yeah,
Give me all your secrets, man.
You learn
Hey,
something
Rob,
new
write
every
that down.
day.
Right there.
Rob already probably knew that.
I
Rob
say,
knows
Tech,
everything, man.
I say, Tech, did you know that? Because I did not know that. And we're going to have something else to look at now. Go team.
Man.
So, with everything that's going on, we've covered kind of what it means to be a free agent, a DE, how things are going to go down. We're really moving into, what is it, 29th? 28th. 28th, right? For the draft day? I gotta wait for it to scroll
It
to
is
the
the
bottom.
28th.
I've got
It's the Monday. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Sorry. I was waiting for the ticker to come through so I could see the
Yeah,
dates.
the
'cause
draft
I've
is the
got 'em all in
28th.
there. Okay. 28th. Most franchises traditionally have some sort of watch party going on. You can pop in, see what's going, but on RSC Solar, you'll be able to tune in, watch the draft live. They normally start top down, right? They go Prem through Ami. So, might take a little bit, especially if you're in one of the lower tiers. But you'll be able to watch as teams select the players they're looking for. Their keepers should traditionally already be on the board. I know last season there were quite a few that were already filled out when we were watching.
The keepers will be on the board.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, real easy. For sure, make sure you pop in, though, and take a peek. It's something different to watch yourself get named, especially when you're drafted. Even if it's not super high, it's kind of an ego boost. I'm not going to lie.
And you'll see your teammates.
Yeah.
You'll see who
true.
also got drafted alongside you. I remember a couple seasons ago, I had a guy DM me on Discord. He's like, "Hey, we just got drafted together. Let's start playing." And I was like, "All right, dude, let's go."
That's pretty cool.
Dude. That's
And then
ready to roll.
Yeah.
Little interesting tidbit for all you people out there watching the drafts. One thing that you can look at is if the GM's name is highlighted green, that means they've traded for that pick, and if the name is highlighted white, that means that pick is one that they got from the draft lottery. So just a little more information for you guys. If you're interested to see like who's making the trades for the number 1 overalls, that's something that you can look at.
Oh man, I'm just dying over here. God, forgot how to swallow liquids. God, that's. Oh fuck.
Unlucky.
Have
Look,
you
if I
tried
can't-
breathing?
No, I might try that later on in the podcast. God, before we kind of roll too far into the next, like, kind of half of everything that's going on, Hob, what did you get for dinner?
Great timing on that question.
Oh, perfect.
Oh,
timing.
I'm the best.
I know you waited for him to take a bite. And
So
you're
I
like,
got
"All right, now I'm gonna
some steak with my A1 steak sauce and
Ooh.
a salad that I've absolutely demolished.
Always got to eat your greens. Always got to eat your greens.
Oh yeah.
But you got a steak, man. I am slacking over here. I just had popcorn. I'm just. God,
That's pretty good dinner too.
good.
Can't go wrong with the steak and salad."
So, how long does anybody know off the top of your head how long preseason cuts traditionally go for?
So I know that you have typically 5 to 6 people after draft night. That's typically how many rounds there are. That's how many you get. The first round of cuts has to be made after the first preseason game, midnight the next day, I believe, or
Yep.
something like that. And then it has to be down to 5. The next has to be done. It's typically that following Sunday, and then that has to be down to 4, or before the next preseason match day. And then you kind of roll with that, and then before the regular season starts, you have to have your team fit cap and be good to go.
Yep. So you can have as many players as you want drafted to a single team. I believe the current record is 9.
Yeah.
Not really a record you want to break. Yeah.
My man, if I rolled into my team, my franchise team chat, and I saw I had 9 people in my tier chat, I'm gonna be like, okay, is this a glitch, or am I really competing with 8 other people for a spot on this team right now?
Yeah. But then a little bit of dates to go along with that. So 8:30 is the night of the first preseason match day. So 8:31 at midnight Eastern time is when all rosters have to be down to 6 players. Generally, that won't be an issue for most teams, but sometimes it is if you have those GMs who have a lot of picks in a single tier. And then 9/4 is our second preseason match day. So 9/5 at midnight Eastern again will be the down to 5 deadline, and then 9/7 at midnight Eastern is the down to 4 deadline.
I was off by 1. Unlucky.
Moose pulled a hum. He just dipped midway through the podcast. That's wild.
Probably got hungry.
You probably got. That's fair. This
Probably
is
going to
a
go
really
yell at
late
Dyer.
time. Why are you guys eating dinner so late?
It's 6:15, 6:24. My bad. Sorry.
I'm an old
They're
man.
not East Coast.
You can catch me at Golden Corral at typically like 4:50, 5:10.
That's lunch.
Oh god.
Yeah. East Coast, Best Coast. It's 9:24 here.
God. Central Coast, Best Coast.
Hey, that's some good oceanfront property you got there.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Breadbasket of America.
You betcha. You betcha. But while
Also
we
the
wait for
basket
Mr.
case.
While we wait for Moose to get back, so preseason cuts. You know, obviously it's never easy. So I've had, unfortunately, to cut a couple people last season, and I know both of you've probably had to cut people before. So
Oh yeah.
for new people who are entering the league, it's never personal. 9 times, well,
No.
I should say 9 times out of 10, it's not personal. 9 times
You'll
out
know
of 10,
if it's personal.
yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's hey, you know, it doesn't fit in. You don't fit in cap because maybe the cap space. I'm just gonna throw a number out there. Maybe it's like 1,000 for Amy. I know it's not 1,000 because I think Amy's minimum was 715, I believe, was last season. But you know, for simplified numbers, we'll say it's 1,000, and you've got 3 players on your team that are all 300 points. And if you're over 100 points, you can't fit under cap. They're gonna likely have to cut you. It's no big deal. yes, you're cut, but like I said before, if you just stay active, you can probably get onto a new team, thankfully. Welcome back, Mr. Moose. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good timing.
Did you
I
go get
think.
some food there?
No. So I got a lot of stadium food. I was at the Lions Jaguars preseason game before this.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's pretty sweet.
yeah, not if your team was the Lions, because well, it didn't exactly go as well as anyone would
Hey, it's
hope. But
preseason, man.
Yeah.
exactly. And then yeah, I guess chat was demanding a Kimpton, so I sent Dyer after the animal cam.
One thing I will add though to cuts is if you are getting cut, like Boss said, it's not personal. And the best piece of advice I can give you as a former GM and current AGM is to take it in stride. GMs talk about players that they cut, and nine
We have
times
a
out
whole
of 10 they're
channel
good
for
cut
it.
notes. And so if you take it in stride, you keep a positive note, and you go be active, like we were talking about the Dev League with 6-mans, with checking in for matches, you are so much more likely to get picked up, or at least invited to a tryout. So keep that in mind. Have a good time. Don't burn any bridges. And just know that it was not personal. It's just usually an unfortunate cap situation.
There's the cat. Oh
Here's
my god.
Kitty.
Hello. Hello, Kimpton.
What?
And the other GM in this house.
I will say it does happen occasionally. I would say 1 out of 10 times, maybe 1 out of 20 actually. You get like 1, 2, 3 people in a tier per season that are, they have really big egos. They think very highly of themselves. Maybe they're not conducive for team synergy. They're not really grinding away, and they're really just like, I'm here. I'm here to play games. I'm already the greatest. I don't need to get better. Those players, you're going to find out very quickly for a lot of your DEs. They're,
Oh, Fluffy.
Yeah, I saw Fluffy. No, those players though, it doesn't matter how good you are. It literally
You're gonna
doesn't matter.
drop.
You're gonna get dropped. Like if you're toxic for your tier, for your team, if you're a GM and your coach or your fellow players don't feel like you're, being productive or helpful or in any way, shape, or form, you're gonna find yourself in free agency. And just as they talk about people being proactive and coaching and playing games outside to get better, they do talk. If you're really, really negative, which is something you want to really avoid, word gets around. It's a small league. There's only 32 GMs. So just please, don't be that guy. Don't be. I had to cut one last season. He's not in the league anymore, but he. When I put a little survey who'd you play well with tonight, and he goes, I play well with anybody. I don't, I'm like the best one here, so you can put 2 people around me and we're going to win a chip. And I'm like, yeah, you're going to get cut.
My
And it seems
first
like you
season
missed out on
ever.
a free chip.
My first season ever, I got drafted to Kaiju by Corrupt Arrow. Shout out Corrupt. He's a real OG. Moose, I think you trained him at Birds of Prey.
Yep, he was my AGM. Then I said, you know what? Here, he was killing it, and I was busy, so I switched roles with him, pulled a Tyler over here. Switched from GM to AGM. And no,
That's
Corrupt ran away with it. It was whereas I got 7 teams to playoffs and they didn't win anything. Corrupt got a bunch of teams to playoffs as well, and then they actually did win something. So, go team. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, so during that season, we had a player who unfortunately got named captain after I turned it down. And he was very similar to the point of, I play this game more than any of you. I'm better than any of you. I will always be on the field. And he was not the best player on the field in any game, I think, ever. But that was a very interesting season. Corrupt handled it well, cut. And you do get those players occasionally, but try not to be that guy. If you don't know who that guy is and you can't tell, chances are it might be you. So take a little step back and humble yourself, please, from a
Am I the drama?
management standpoint.
Am
Am
I the bad guy?
And just to kind of go in the opposite direction, from that as well, you know, we talk about how GMs talk to each other. So if you are the problem child on a team, chances are the other 30 GM, you know, the other 31 GMs are going to know as well. But by the same token, you know, it is a for fun league. And if I have to cut somebody and I genuinely believe that they're a starter quality player, you know, or they're a good vibes guy, you know, when I send that transaction through, I'm going to also put in basically a letter of recommendation saying, hey, this is the guy I'm letting go. This is why I'm letting him go. And it might be because of cap space. It might be because, you know, the chemistry is just better. Or, you know, maybe maybe he just likes the color red and I just have a strong aversion to that, right? You know, and then I'll put in the chat and it's like, listen, hey, he's definitely a starter. Or, you know, he's going to be a good developmental fourth. You know, he can really contribute to your team if you need help on offense or if you need help on defense, right? I'll write out that recommendation, and in bonus points, if you're a franchise guy, if you're that guy who hangs out, you know, after matches, who tries to get better, or, you know, or just who wants to like hang and vibe or, you know, play battle bit, you know, after matches, I'm 100% going to put that down because it's a for fun league, and I want that player to have just as much fun as I'm having on my team. So I'll be like, hey, you know, I'll just yell downstairs, hey, Dyer, go pick this player up, right? Or vice versa, right? That's
Collusion.
Yeah, well, Lox is like our child of divorce. He's bouncing back and forth between homes.
Yeah, I've been trying to get him since about season 14.
So
Rob, write it down.
Write it down. God. I just realized I think my cam froze.
Oh yes, you're very frozen.
You're very stoic.
I would say bonus
and you're
points.
back.
We're cheating. So I never really use this. I try not to because I really hate this webcam. But
This is what we're rolling with because my main cam just froze. I don't know why. But no, Moose, I'm glad you brought that up because last season, Quan, shout out to the homie there, he had a team that wasn't doing super well in Challenge, and he reached out to me and he said, hey, I've got this guy. He's a great dude. He's a great, you know, part of the franchise. He is active. He likes to play games a lot. Can you take him so that because we're going through a whole rebuild, we just can't seem to figure it out. Can you get him onto your team since you're looking for players? Yeah, sure. No problem. Like, GMs are really readily available to, like, working things out with people and trying to get people in good destinations. Like, 100%.
And if I can get a 3rd round bonus pick for it next season, you know, that doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Man. Futures are always nice.
Yep. So that way I can have 9 guys in a tier for preseason and, you know, see how that goes.
I tried so hard to set up a trade because I told Croc, I was like, look, man, if I can get I think it was like 15 6th round picks or whatever. Like, I was like, hey man, can I trade for one of your 4ths? If I can give you like 15 6th round picks, can we make this happen? Dude, if I could have made that trade happen, it is a lot of picks, but 6th round picks are kind of
incredibly valuable.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's where you get the biggest sleepers.
Yo.
I've
If
only
you
ever
even
been picked
get
in the
the
6th round.
If you even get to be like a 6th round in your draft, God.
I say, hey, I'm old Greg was a 4th rounder. You never know. He could have been just a smidge worse. He would have been that MVP 6th round Mr. Irrelevant.
And Boz,
Already
actually,
with the
I
6th round
believe the season before you, on our rival team, we had a Chally player that we promoted into a 6th round rival player who dropped a 102 SPV in rival.
Damn.
Yeah, shout out Mr. Nuke. I think he's chilling in Elite now too.
Who?
Mr. Nuke.
Oh no, he's at the Cosmos. He
I
was
said
veteran
elite.
last season.
he said,
Oh,
My guy.
Yeah. Well, I meant like I was gonna say he's in rival now.
He
is he?
is?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna hit you up after this.
Don't worry about it, dog.
Why am I not in rival? I got moved to elite. What is going on here?
See, boss, you gotta send in a 20 every time you do a numbers report. That's how you grease the wheels.
Yo,
Yeah,
if that's
it
all
really
it took,
helps.
oh my god, we could already be there. Are you kidding me? We could already be there. Oh, I would love to
Yeah,
be
all the
back in
richest
rival.
players are in AMI.
Real.
But continuing on with our new player orientation here as we keep things kind of moving. We've already talked about dates. We've already talked about preseason, the draft. Let's talk about an important part of your roster. Let's talk about your captains, who you nominate for each tier, and what you kind of expect about your captains. Tyler, you obviously have been around for a little while. What do you look for in a captain, and what do you kind of expect from your captains?
There's the two, or really three big things I look for in the captain. The third, I'll start with the third one. The least important, but still kind of important, PC players. Just saving those replays is so much easier that way. At the end of the day, it's not, like a super huge deal because you can just get one of the other players to save the replays, but it's nice. Another big thing is someone who wants it, right? You want the captain to be the most active. They're typically responsible for setting up off-day scrims, off-day, ranked grinds and whatnot, and replay reviews. So people who are active and seek out being a captain usually have a leg up. I mean, and I would say at least 50% of teams I've built, there's usually only one guy that really wants it. The other three are just like, yeah, give it to him. So it's pretty easy. And then the last one is, a franchise player, a guy whose the idea for the team aligns with mine and kind of what I want to see, whether that's, a hard sweat team, like I'm here to win the championship in this tier, right? Y'all are doing replay reviews once a week. You're grinding off nights. Or if it's like, hey, we got 2 or 3 franchise players on this team. Maybe this is just a for fun league. We make the playoffs this season. We're super happy. And we just kind of go from there. And it's more of a relaxed environment. So someone that just their ideas align with mine and what I want for that particular team.
Fair enough. Moose, for you, when you're obviously you require your captains to set up scrims, right? Every time.
Well, sometimes. Last season I was the captain, but I swear Skullsy set up like 90% of those scrims. So, sometimes we like to do this thing in my franchise called delegation. I'm very good at avoiding responsibility. Yeah, ideally, your captain is going to be the one who's setting up scrims. So they're going to have. Sorry, go for it.
No, I was gonna say for our new viewers, people who've never seen or even been a part of ROC before, what are scrims? I don't think we've said it yet. All
Yeah.
on the stream.
Yeah. So scrims, short for scrimmages, are when we're playing an RSC during match nights. Usually, you'll set an hour block ahead of the actual match to go ahead and warm up against another team, where you'll take all of your players, including, potentially your bench players, to rotate through your lineups, get everybody warmed up, kind of see who's cooking, who might need a couple extra drinks before they hit that crossbar for the 10th time. And also too, just to get a feel for your opponent, for your opposing team, and kind of improve, your bench player as well. Sometimes that's a good opportunity for them to really get some match time in and see if they're going to be ready for the show.
Yeah, I know for me, there's only 2 ways that I ever run scrims if I'm the captain, which for the most part I am. It's always either the highest points player rotates out, because the ideology behind that is that, they're the most warmed up. They should probably sit the next game if they're feeling the best in the lobby. Let the other players make sure everybody else is warmed up. Or just having a set lineup of rotating through all 4 players, making sure that in a set of 4 games, everybody plays 3 times, and they play with all the combinations of teams, just to make sure that everybody plays, and then you figure out your best lineup from that and go into that with matches.
Dude, that is the best picture of Tech 4 I think I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, you're welcome.
That is fantastic.
Gotta check it out.
It's pretty great.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
God. I'm sorry. I was so distracted. I forgot where we were.
scrims, but yeah.
Yes, we
got
just
it,
finished
got
up scrims. I was gonna go into the match series about that next.
Into the what?
Match series.
Match
there we go.
series. Got it. Sorry, it cut out for you when you said I was going to go into the and then nothing for like a good 3 seconds.
Yeah, no, I actually just kind of baited you there. Anyways, so the match series, how that works, RSC is a little bit different than probably most other leagues that you've heard of or that you've played in. If you've played in a lot of other leagues like MLE or Nemesis or stuff like that, what we do is a 4-game match series every single match night up until playoffs, which we'll talk about later. And in those 4 matches, no matter win or loss, you play all 4 games. You could have a 4-0, a 1-3, a 2-2, a 3-1, any combination of those. And we take into account total games when talking about standings. That's why it's really important to play all 4 of those matches. And typically in those matches, you'll play anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes of Rocket League. And that's about it. After that, sometimes you'll have a captain's meeting afterwards, depending on your franchise. But most people will just cut you loose. Feel free to go, have fun, do whatever you want to do after that.
It is important how you handle it though, like after a series, because like I've played with some guys who are like, as soon as the series is over, you snap your fingers, they're gone, like we're out. But I've also played some teams where you lose, pretty bad, and then all of a sudden you one of them's like, dude, we gotta watch a replay. We gotta find out what just happened and why we just got 1-3 or why we just got 4-0'd. Like and I think that's a big part about it as well for a lot of our new players. Is just how you respond to the adversity of a tough series is really going to be important, and how you develop and grow as a player.
Yeah,
For sure.
I say you mean you don't just immediately just abandon the BC right after game 4 is over? Just all 4 players just clear out?
Well, some of us don't win all the time, Moose. So some of us got to deal with loss. So
Oh no,
just-
no! I've
He
seen
has
it.
no idea what that's like.
I've seen it both. I've seen
Yeah,
it both ways
coach
because I've
cookies.
100% been on a team where that timer hits 0 at game 4, and all of a sudden I'm left to collect my thoughts and the replays, and I'm like, where did everybody go?
Yeah. I like to host franchise meetings to kind of give more of a sense of, we're all a big team. And so I usually try to get my players to come up. And I usually get pretty good turnout, 2 or 3 people a tier. I'm pretty stoked about that. We can talk about it. And then as management, we can take a look at the teams that didn't do too hot that night, and we can schedule, a replay review or something to figure out what's going on.
or get out the scissors.
Nah.
I say it depends on who your captain is and who your AGMs are. The scissors option is a viable strategy.
So that kind of covers though most of really kind of like just the basic series. I know we had talked about potentially covering forfeit procedure, but have they solidified that yet, or are they still discussing that in rules?
What
The biggest thing to know
forfeit?
about forfeits is to take screenshots, document it, mod mail it, and if you think there's been a possible forfeit within the first minute of a match, just leave and restart. Don't be a dick, please. If it's in the first minute and there's been no goals scored and you think a forfeit has occurred, just leave the lobby, restart that match, because that's one of those times where you can actually restart the entire game. But if a goal has already been scored, or it's later in the match and you think a forfeit has occurred, like for example a player joining the lobby, just leave right away. That'll get you the forfeit. Open up a mod mail, take screenshots, document everything with timestamps, and that will get you what you need. That's a brief rundown on forfeits. Everything else is super complicated.
And I was going to say, if you're not familiar with what a forfeit is or what constitutes a forfeit, we do have the RC rulebook in the important links section. Your captain should likely be familiarized with that, just so they kind of understand what to look for. But if you want it, it's not the worst read in the world. Bob puts a lot of work in, and it's pretty well spelled out. You can find out exactly what causes it. I know like some minor things, or when I have my 4th player jump in, so we can get a quick bit of advantage for a little bit of chaos versus 3-man. So apparently that's a forfeit.
That is frowned upon, apparently.
Allegedly.
Yeah, no power plays in Rocket League.
No power play.
Well, if
That
you
would
get
be
enough at
big.
demos.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it would be more like pulling your
God,
goalie.
you
I
get 5
guess.
demos and a 4th player gets to jump in real quick as an all-time goalie. Oh no. Somebody submitted the rules. Serious suggestion. Let's go.
I like that. That's our controversial take for the night.
Oh man. Playoffs. For a lot of people who aren't familiar, it's pretty straightforward. You know, you have the best record, and then if you have ties, we have some tiebreakers that go down the line. Tyler, you're probably a lot more familiar with the tiebreakers, I would hope, than myself, because I don't exactly know how
Yeah.
it goes.
I'm definitely super familiar with those. I actually have no idea. I want to say the first one is conference record.
Head to head.
It's head-to-head first. For some reason, I
Yeah.
thought it wasn't first, and I thought that was ridiculous a while back. Maybe they changed it, or maybe I'm just dreaming of something.
It's only if you get into a three-way, and that is not an innuendo. But yeah, if there's more than a two-team tie, then or
It's just
if
head-to-head.
or if they never played against each other, then it starts going down the list where you hit that. What is it? If you're in the same division, it's division record. If you're in the same conference, it's conference record. And then it starts getting fun because I think it starts hitting it. Yeah, go.
I just pulled up the
At some point, I know
command.
it is a coin flip.
Yeah, it is. But I just pulled up the command, and it is head-to-head record, and then everything that Moose said after that, and then following the conference opponents, it's just record against common opponents, and then overall goal differential, and then goal differential through all of those things that we already talked about, division, conference, overall tier, and then it's draw lots, which is essentially like picking stones, and you put them into a hat, and you get a stone, and that's a team that makes playoff.
Look at this
I don't think it's
nerd
ever come to that, though.
I don't
having
think it
all
has.
the tiebreakers work.
I unfortunately had an amateur team, or contender team, that had I think like 52% win record, not make playoffs because of goal differential.
Wow.
I'm lucky.
I was gonna say it wasn't your Amy team, because your Amy team last season.
Yeah. Rough season.
Look, man,
And,
I'm not part of a franchise. You can't take shots at me.
Well, I didn't see any FAs take home a championship.
Oof. On a slightly related note, too, just as a general consensus for our new players out there, the way playoffs will typically go in terms of just making it in general is every tier will take half the teams to playoffs. Now, depending on which tier,
right?
yeah, it is.
It's always
It's
half.
half. Yep.
Yeah.
And depending on which tier you're in, you may have divisions, you may have conferences, you may have none of that. So depending on which one of those you're in, you know, a divisional or conference record may be slightly more important than overall record. Or sorry, well, your overall record is the most important, but you could potentially be, you know, the ninth worst team overall, and still get in just because you're in a certain conference. Or sorry, ninth best. My apologies.
Yeah, found that one out the hard way. Season 16, playing for the Chromium, we finished 33-31, and we did not make playoffs. We did not.
Sometimes the conferences are lopsided.
Yeah.
They try their best, but I mean, it
We
happens.
recently
It happens.
implemented the conference shuffling, right? That happens like every season now, or something like that.
Yeah, so division reshuffling.
Divisions.
Oh,
Okay.
division. Okay.
I believe at least one GM from every division gets shuffled, and then 2 GMs every season switch conferences. I was the GM that switched conferences last season.
I knew that was brought up a couple seasons ago.
Yeah.
Just didn't remember how long ago it was.
And then also another funky thing like that, if you do make it into the playoffs and you progress past the wild card round in any tier that is that's a 32 team tier, so that's challenger through elite, after you have your first round, you have to wait if you've won for division or for conference reseeding. So how that works is no matter what teams won and what teams lost, the second round, so the quarterfinals, is always going to be reseeded so that the highest seeded team plays the lowest seeded team, and then the two middle teams play each other there. So even if the 7 seed beats, let's say, the 2 seed, and then they're slated to play the 3 seed after that, division reshuffling is going to say, nope, you're actually going to go and play the 1 seed after you've just played the 7 seed. And I just, again, want to shout out the, who was it? It was Elite? Yeah, Menthol, for beating the Sloths, being one of the only teams to have an 8-1 upset this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something about it when you upset the 1 seed, and I can say that from personal experience in my two seasons of playing. Season 15, I got picked up for the Swiss Swindlers back end of the season, and we played against the Swarms team. I think it was the Wasps. I think that was their rival team. We beat them 5 games, OT. And then I found out about conference reseeding immediately because I thought we were going to play like the 6th seed and we were going to be able to, relax. But then we had to play the 2nd seed, and I think it was like cursed. I think that was the... I could be... That second team was kind of we did not beat them.
I had a similar story in Veteran a couple seasons ago. I think we were the 8th seed, and we upset the 1st seed. I think we like 3-1'd them or whatever. It doesn't really matter. And then we were just ready to go. And I think this was the first season where the reseeding became a thing. So I just looked at the score reporting, DM'd the next guy, and went on with it. And we played 2 games. And I think we won them both. But then I got a DM from an admin saying, hey, what are you doing? You're reseeding. So then we went and had to play, I think, the 2 seed or something like that. And we lost. And that was less fun.
That's tough.
And for myself, what's it? 2 seasons ago, we came in as the 7th, had to go against 2 seed, and then immediately turn around and go get the 1 seed.
They put you through the gauntlet.
Yeah, and the nice thing is that when you get through the gauntlet, the rest is easgy, right? But in theory,
one of your casters sees you guys get through the gauntlet live on stream, and you hear him go, all right, this is great. They're on a warpath. They're just going to take the chip. See how it is.
Yeah. But, just from personal experience, especially as a tennis player, so I've been in tournaments since I've been like 8 years old. I hate being the 1 seed. That is a ton of pressure. Number 2 is perfectly fine. Being the underdog all day, every day. Love it. Nobody expects anything out of you. That's, I don't know. I just like deflecting my responsibilities. I also like to deflect expectations. So don't put that on me. Hide me in the bottom somewhere. I like it.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is Moose is gonna win his 5th ship this season, and we're all gonna pressure him into it and be the 1 seed and go into playoffs and sweep all the way through.
Oh man, I'm not saying anything about this season yet, or even when we're during the season. I like to keep my mouth shut. I'll let my teammates do all the talking. Let's.
Skullsy.
Yep.
You have an event coming up Monday. So as we're kind of running out of time tonight for the incredible amount of topics that we need to cover for new player orientation, you have something coming up, right? For more of a Q&A, kind of a... You want to fill us in on that event?
Yeah, so Monday night, 8 p.m., 24 hours after the draft lottery, and approximately 46 hours from now, I'll be hosting a little Q&A new player orientation session where anybody can actually drop by and ask questions about the league, but it'll be more suited towards new players, and I'll try and make sure that I go over some of the that we miss if we miss anything tonight. But yeah, that'll just be really a player-led conversation where anybody can come in, drop the questions that they have in the help channel right now, and ping me if you do, so make sure that I see them. But I'll just be going through answering any questions. I'll be in there for the full hour before combines. But yeah, feel free to stop by, ask me anything. I have a pretty decent understanding of what RSC is. I've been around for years, and I'd love to help share that information with anybody who wants to learn.
Dope. Sorry, I didn't want to... We got a lot to talk about, and unfortunately,
No worries.
we've got somebody we're kind of holding up for an interview in a
Yeah.
little bit, so can't keep them forever, unfortunately. So we'll go ahead. We're gonna roll into kind of our little bit of a intermediate break for those of you who are new here. In the middle, we do a little bit of shouting out some people that we really feel like deserve it in the league, and do a little bit of trivia. Mr. Hum, I know you might have pilfered some trivia, maybe, perhaps.
I do have some trivia if you want to
Sweet.
have me do that before we do the
100%.
shout-outs.
100%.
All right. So, this season, who do you think the 5 fastest players were in all of RSC with a minimum of 50% of the games played? And how fast do you think they went?
You're talking average speed.
Average speed, yep.
All right, I'm gonna take a stab on Skullsy because I saw all of our stats and I know he was cruising around like 16:25, I think, on average. So just off the top of my head, I don't know anybody else.
So Skullsy is
no
close. That's a good benchmark. He's about 20 off from being in the top 5.
Dang,
And
he
sorry, this was for last
moving.
season?
What was that?
What was the question? Was the 5 fastest players last season?
Yep. And also, bonus points if you can guess what tiers they were in.
All right, I'll give my boy Fluffy a shout out. Was he there? He was veteran.
Fluffy was not there, but if you keep guessing veteran players, you'll have a higher chance. 4 out of the 5 players in this list were veteran.
Oh dang.
Is it
Nice tier, baby.
Possessed? Is it Raccoon, the MVP
Raccoon
of
was
season
not
16?
on
Oh,
there.
okay, dang.
Yeah, that's my Fuse teammate.
Nice.
Shout out Raccoon.
I say,
It's
oh
probably
man,
Eos
now
Arctic. They were both played pretty cool.
One of them was my players in veteran.
I say,
I don't pay attention to your team, man.
Nobody pays attention to your guys. I didn't even pay attention to your guys, and that was on your franchise.
Okay.
who are you?
Pretty much. So coming in at 5th is Pop Tart Pounder at 1645 Unreal.
Oh, that's right. I laughed so hard when I saw him in Elite, and I'm like, that guy. I saw him in an Elite Combine. I'm like, name alone, get him over here.
Yeah. And then in 4th we got Wolf at 1655.
We have who?
Soul Wolf.
Oh, sorry. You said we've got, and then your whole thing froze because you're three down 2 up internet. Really low.
Oh yeah,
back
it's
right
great.
now.
Yeah, Wolf is the only Prem player. And then we got Soul at 1660 and Legolas at 1675 Unreal units, which is, I just think, absolutely insane. And now, going back to a little bit of GM trivia, Cake was fortunate enough to update the GM and franchise history sheet. So we now have a new 100th ranked GM. Who do y'all think it is? I'll give you a hint. It is still a current admin.
100th
Oh, current
rank? Is
admin?
it, well, I
Yes.
guess Skim last time, and he was like 106.
Tinsel an admin still? I think Tinsel's an admin, yeah.
Tinsel was the answer last time.
Oh, he was? Okay.
I'm gonna guess
shoot,
RB Legend.
Nope, he's a little bit further down.
let me take a stab at Blister.
Oh, close. I
it's
think
gotta
this
be
is in
Hecka,
like
then.
the top 70. Nope, not Hecka. One
Alright.
other one.
Who is it? Who is it?
I have no
Trippin'.
idea, man.
Trippin ranked, yep, all the way down at 100 right now.
He plays for Ox. He plays for Bex.
Yeah, he's
He's
not
an
an active
active
GM,
Yeah,
but he is
Oh,
an
I thought
active
you said-
admin.
I thought you said active. Oh man.
No, sorry.
No.
He was the GM of Waste Management, not to be confused with a certain rebrand that is upcoming. And now, for the last question, who is the only GM listed back to back in the franchise history? Not GM history, franchise history. So they manage 2 different franchises.
Infinite?
I think I lost half the question. Can you?
Oh yeah, sorry. So who is the only GM to have managed 2 separate franchises and have them ranked identically in franchise history standings?
Okay, gotcha.
I'd go with my boy Infinite, but I have no idea.
He's managed a few franchises. Yeah.
He's just done
I don't
2.
know.
I've had, I know I've had 2, and I don't know. one turned out slightly better than the other, but that's all right.
Yeah, so actually, shout out to Direwolf, who has GM Sub-Zero, which is the 43rd overall ranked franchise at 50.6, and Destined, which is the 44th overall franchise at 50.5. So right back to back, that's pretty insane consistency from her, and a positive win rate in both seasons, or both
There we
franchises.
go team. See, I knew I married greatness.
Speaking of greatness, I don't think we can wait any longer to talk about our shoutouts. So, for those who are viewing tonight, we went ahead and reached out to a good bit of the committee heads to find out really who's been putting in the work this last season, who's been really setting themselves apart from the rest of the league, and, you know, we just got to make sure we get their names out there, give them at least a little bit of recognition. Getting us started off, fitting start, I'll go ahead and start off with media committee. I actually did not answer this. I reached out to Croc, who just, the Croctopus TV, who just recently ended up stepping down. He shouted out two people. He shouted out Mr. Tazlian. If there was a media committee MVP badge, Taz would definitely get it. This man single-handedly produced probably over half of the streams this season. And then he also shouted out Slam Rancher and Go Fig, because both of them have been putting in a lot of work highlighting the streams, getting them edited from the Twitch, getting the VODs put up. Everything going between Twitch and YouTube has been those two, so huge shout out to both of those guys.
Shout out Slime Rancher. Great GM.
I say I got to shout out Go Fig. He's always been a hype man for me in Elite Chat, so go team.
No team.
Or should I say Go Fig?
Yeah. All right, I'll get us rolling next into the transactions committee. So Naro is the new recently elected committee head for transactions. Shout out to him for winning that election. And Naro said that Rachi stepped down from the committee head, and he was with him whenever I interacted with Rachi in my committee channel or my transaction channels. He was always great at leading the committee, directing them on what to do and knowing all the rules. But another one that Naro wanted to shout out is Bladed Raptor. He did the most transactions last season with 381, which is absolutely absurd. That is the top 4 franchises with the most transactions combined, all done by himself. And for one person, that is pretty insane. I think, we're seeing Fluffy in the chat saying it's not 500. If he wants to go for that record, feel free to go for it. I would love to see my transactions done instantaneously this season.
I believe in Fluffy. But 381 is a lot. I don't know if you can top that number.
Yeah, I think it was over 100 higher than the next person. Like, he really just grinded out transactions this season.
Yeah, wow.
I can go next. I can give the arbiters a shout out. There is no head of the arbiters committee, so I reached out to each one individually, and you know they all had a lot of good things to say about each other. There was a common name among them all though, and that was Musa. So I wanted to give a huge shout out to Musa. Some things that his fellow arbiters said about him was that he pushed them when they needed to be pushed and get things done, and he always explained himself very well. And that he was good at rallying everyone to vote, which is important for arbiters because you need them fighting for you, right? They're here to defend you against the mod team if things get a little, you know, hazy or whatever. So shout out to Musa. But all in all, the arbiters said pretty much good things about all of them.
Yeah, and I just want to take a second to really shout out Musa. I think he is one of the unsung heroes of RSC. He has done so much for the history of RSC. Like, he was... What's up, boss?
Oh, I was going to... When you're done, I'll pop in. When you're done.
Gotcha, okay. I was just going to say, he has done a ton of work behind the scenes with the media committee in its early stages, helping out with the Stream API and a lot of the development that went into that and creating the Stream Deck. I've seen it. It is absolutely insane how big the folder is and how automated everything is. Musa helped out a lot with that. I believe Trippin did as well. So shout out to both of them. But I really just wanted to shout out Musa again as an arbiter. He is one of those people that's always on point. We actually have an active appeal right now, and we're going to be looking to get things started with that soon.
Sweet. Just Jags. So transactions are. So we probably should have explained some of this as we went. But for transactions. So anytime a player is cut, a player is signed, a trade goes through, stuff like that.
Or a player
Somebody-
drafted.
Or a player's drafted. Somebody physically goes in and like adjusts the roles, what franchise they're a part of. And there's a lot of work that goes into it. So for every single one of those counts as one person, counts as 1 point. And Blader Drafter did 381 of those, which is nuts. Like when you think about it. Since Moose just stepped away, I'll go ahead and keep us rolling here. So we also got a big shout out from Mod Committee from Mr. Reverse Fridge, who shouted out Hoovy and Cat, as they've always been a really helpful person within the mod community, basically from the moment they joined. And Hoovy, every step of the way, has been awesome in all facets. Mr. Moose, you want to get us through stats and numbers?
I certainly can.
Hey.
Yeah, if you've never seen a cat tackle a dog before, it is a fun sight to see. But long story short, stats. I mean, if this league's here for one reason, it's to feed our egos, and stats committee is a big part of that. Because just like in baseball, you want to know how awesome you are. So Array shouted out Dolphino and Neoblast. They really stuck it out, put a ton of weight. They just pulled a ton of weight, keeping stats going just the past 3 seasons. She said she's really appreciative of them being a part of our team and continued dedication and time given to stats. And, Dolphino, I think I drafted him as a GM like over 10 seasons ago.
Did you draft him to Electric Mayhem by any chance?
I certainly did, or at least I think I did.
As he now manages.
Well, not any, not.
Used
I think
to.
yeah. But yeah, it's kind of crazy because now it's been a minute, and I think he was a minor before when I drafted him. Now he's an adult, which is kind of like crazy to think about. Anywho, got sidetracked. Go team. Numbers committee. Lazario wanted to shout out to Durr for all of his feedback on the committee's kind of internal processes that help make sure players are placed properly in RSC. Because for a draft league like this, you don't want somebody coming down to a tier they're not supposed to be in and just absolutely seal clubbing the rest of the tiers. So shout out to Durr. He's been an integral piece when working with numbers reports during the entire offseason.
Hey, fair enough. And we did reach out to a couple of the other committees. Didn't hear a whole lot back. I do want to shout out for events committee though. Chelsea Acacia, they've been putting in a lot of work this offseason. Just trying to get some new events going that we haven't had before, which has been really solid. I know they've been putting in a lot of work as well for the All-Star games. The event one should be going on tonight, I believe, at 10, which is 9 minutes ago, so that should have already started. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I just want to make sure we get that shout out here. Let me go ahead and reach out to our interviewee and see if they are ready for us.
And then also too, while you're doing that, I will recognize player recognition committee. I want to I know he doesn't want any recognition, but Tech 4, well, you got to recognize the recognizer, and he does a good job of again, kind of along with stats. It's cool because when you go to an MLB broadcast or an NFL broadcast and they're playing, they're like, hey, this guy is the first guy to be to have 3 fingers and hit a triple all in the same game. Like, obviously we don't quite go into that kind of detail, but it's always cool when you see these neat little tidbits, like, most boost hungry, or hey, most goals scored on a Wednesday kind of a deal.
All right,
Plus, Tech's pretty cool.
So they're joining now. I'm ready to get their stuff up on screen because I don't believe they've publicly posted their rebrand yet, have they?
We're moving into the rebrand section now.
I believe they've released it to managers, but I don't think publicly.
Cool. Once I see Bex, we'll drag him in here. We'll get him. Oh, hey, speak of the devil, as I say it.
Oh, they have publicly rebranded.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
Their server,
that's-
their
I
server's
thought we
Mace
were gonna-
Management.
I
Oh,
thought we
man.
were going to get to talk about it. That's unfortunate. But
What a
Bex,
mace.
how's it going?
Going on, man?
Howdy, Vex. Welcome.
Is my quality alright?
Yeah.
Oh, you are
Yeah,
more than
sounds good to
qualified.
me.
Yeah.
I'm on my phone.
Qualified.
I'm not home.
Oh, so okay, two of them just dipped. That's great.
Oh,
I'm here.
Hum's here. I thought he left on us. So Bex, you rebranded. You're now Maced Management. I'm guessing that's for copyright issues.
Yeah. Yeah. We wanted waste management to come back. For any new people, I mean that's been in RSC since like Orsa, so like pre-RSC. But yeah, we couldn't do it. Couldn't bring it back because of copyright. So now our colors are yellow and green instead of green and yellow.
Nice. Reverse
and
the colors with the letters. I like that.
It looks great too. Like I saw both the helmet with the garbage in the face mask. That looks really solid. Like really sick
Yeah.
for a good logo.
Yeah, shout out Hoove. Hoove did it.
There you go.
Does
Quality
Hoovia
work.
make every single logo? Because I think they also made the one for Bosco and Irish.
They
Yeah.
make quite a few.
She I think they updated Nexus's logo also.
Yep,
Wow.
that sounds right.
Yeah.
And I think the Gardens, honestly. We just got
Yeah.
a new logo this season as well.
Yeah. So
You know.
Christmas. No wonder Hoovia told me they were busy.
Yeah. And I'll homer a little bit. I would say if the logo isn't made by a Hoovian, Dyer probably had a hand in half of it as well. I know she's been running around on a few.
yeah, I know Beans used to have his hand in some logos too.
Yeah.
He had made Inferno for me a few seasons ago.
Yeah, and honestly, whenever I look at waste management, since I was around for waste management, am always just going to see it as waste management. And if I'm ever in score reporting, I'm probably going to teams. I'm just going to apologize right now for the wrong pings you're going to get. Sorry in advance, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably gonna.
Yeah,
keep
no,
these.
that's the whole point. So
Almost like the
So-
SpongeBob meme. I thought you meant Weast.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, our team names are just the same as they
Awesome.
were, but they're just flipped.
How many tiers do you have?
I have Prem through Cali, so I have 6 teams.
Nice.
Okay. So I know, like, looking back, when I first joined media, I had asked for all the logos of the previous seasons and whatnot, just so I could, be easier to work with. And I remember seeing Waste Management, and I thought, that needs to come back. That's a solid team name. What led you to this decision to bring back and rebrand as Maced Management?
So my first season was season 8. I got drafted by 50/50. Shout out Blister. But the whole time I was in touch with like waste management. So at the time, Semantics was an AGM. So I left 50/50. I went to waste management. Trippin was the GM at the time. And immediately, like, I built a good relationship with Stem. Like, he's been on a ton of my teams since then. And then I became AGM for Trip season 9. Stayed AGM until season 11 when he gave me waste management, and then I rebranded to Inferno. So it was kind of just something that Trip and I wanted to bring back, and we were thinking of doing it when I first took over a couple seasons ago for Canadian. But I had the opportunity from an EU GM Hecky to rebrand to Ox Gaming, which I took advantage of. But at this point, it's time to bring it back. It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's like the Quad Dynasty. It was time for it to come back.
I was happy to see the Quad Dynasty come back, and I'm happy to see an old familiar face, even if it is now maced management. It's the same. It's the
Yeah,
same
and
to me.
there was always an ongoing meme about Mace management because of Milky Way. So yeah,
Oh.
so we would always call it Wilkie May and Mace management, but now it's real. Woo! Yay!
Oh,
Yeah.
Honestly, nothing better than seeing the dumpsters or the trash bins, sweep a team in score reporting, because that in and of itself
No,
just
it's bad when you're playing them and you get swept, and it's like, damn, I just got swept by the dumpsters.
Yeah, well now they're the dumpsters. So
Oh.
yeah.
so we
as
that
long
was
as
something
admins pass that one, we'll see.
that was something I was gonna ask was did you already have your tiers solidified, like your names?
Yeah, so I can run you through them if you want me to.
For
Yeah.
sure.
All right, so let me scroll up here. So Premier is the Tarbage Grucks. Used to be the Garbage Trucks. Master is the Crash Compactors.
Oh god,
Elite.
I see a theme here.
Elite is the Dumpsters. So we're just flipping the P upside down. Veteran is the Crash Tans. Rival is the Brash Tins. And Challenger, we were trying to think of what to do for the bottom tier. So Trip and I put our IQ together and we decided on Recycling Cringe. So that's the name of our Chally team.
That's good.
That's fantastic. Although I don't like being dyslexic and trying to score report your stuff. That's gonna be an absolute nightmare. I struggle with reading and writing on a regular basis. Yeah,
Best of luck.
Yeah, that's gonna be Skullsy's job.
Yeah, when
Delegation, baby.
when Trip and I were talking about it, Trip said the main goal of this is to make sure that when people are looking at our team names and people are like making the lobbies with our team names, that they mess it up, just to give stats the worst time possible. So
Oh,
You are
That's
gonna
what
get
you wanna
so
hear.
many replay strikes. Holy. Good thing you got a man on the inside.
yeah, of course. Oh, two guys on the inside right now, actually.
Sure.
Oh yeah, Tech 4 brings up a good point. Casting that is gonna be
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
be
not
a
looking for
fun
it.
Oh
time.
boy.
I'm not looking for
Good
it
luck,
at all,
boss.
honestly. Look, I don't think they've set opening day matchups yet. I don't think we've had signups for it, but when it happens, it could be rough.
Yeah, I'll make
You'll
sure
have to sign
each
up
of my
for every
teams
stream.
get on stream at least once this season. We'll make sure of it.
Good.
Boss just silently crying to himself inside
Oh,
right now.
100%. Dude, I'm just thinking of, it happens every season. I'll see somebody's name like Dylan. I still haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah. Dylon.
Oh, Dalen?
Dylon.
Is that who you're thinking of?
Dalen?
Oh,
Dylan 777.
oh.
Is that Dylan?
No, you're
The
you're
new
thinking
well
of the,
defense GM.
Yeah, no, that's just I've always called him Dylan.
Okay,
Dylon.
because I legitimately on stream last season, I'm like, I said Dylon for like 30 minutes, and everybody in chat's like, it's Dylon, it's Dylan, and they're just giving me like
He
all the
just
different
confirmed in
wrong
chat
answers.
it's Dylon.
It's Dylon.
He
Okay.
has it. He has the pronunciation out for us.
Legitimately though, like I had so many people in chat being like, "You're pronouncing it wrong. It's Dylan." And as a caster, I'm like, "Am I? No, please, not right now."
Just imagine you're really, really mad at your grass and you're trying to kill it. Dylon.
Okay,
The,
makes sense.
Season 15, when I was playing with ITA, it was me, Yellow, and Bax, and because Bax and I's names were so close together,
Bex,
Yellow
Bex,
changed her name
Bex.
to Box, so it was Bex, Bax, Box.
That is quality.
I remember
That's a
watching
that's-
that stream.
Oh,
That was a good one.
That's 13,
Yeah.
14, 15, and
I
47
was
right
gonna
there.
say that was
Yeah.
terrible.
Another
Yeah.
ITA team, by the way.
Yeah.
There was
Oh,
a
man.
team that I had that all changed their names to condiments for finals because they had a guy named Mayo and a guy named Soup, and so we also had a mustard and spoon out on the pitch that night.
Love that. Love the team chemistry there.
So, Bex, what's your favorite tier name? Like, which one are we talking here?
Gotta be dumpsters, right? Dumpsters.
Gotta be.
Yeah, dumpsters is a good one. I think crash compactors just flows off the tongue pretty well. Recycling cringe is just, gets the point across.
That's a pretty funny one.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, but like dumpsters, it's like not only are you trash, like you're also dumb. So
Yeah, like I said, that gets my vote. That's
and,
solid.
and it's for elite, so it's just it fits perfectly.
It fits.
Man. Elite,
Yeah.
elite chat's gonna be even more toxic than it always is.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boss, I don't know if I ever told you my idea to make it even worse.
Please don't.
you know,
Please don't make it worse. It's already bad enough as is, man. Come on.
I would say my thought was if anybody's skilled at some bot programming, we already have the rock paper scissors bot in there,
Oh,
but
no.
but you know the oh, what is it? The would you rather game where you pick three options. I won't say the name out.
Yeah,
Name for that
MFK.
game, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would say you could also do a start bench cut version and throw that in there if you want to see the mods implode.
Oh, I
God.
can't even imagine.
The amount
That
of
would be
foot traffic
carnage.
that bot would get in a span of 24 hours would be just.
I'm not saying you should do it, but I'm also not saying you shouldn't do it.
I mean, this
Well-
chat has literally fought the rock paper scissors bot all season long. Imagine what they do with actionable commands.
I don't think it ever made it to elite, but Premier and Master were for the past 2 seasons now they've been doing tier lists. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
Everyone's
It's
been the
way too
one that's
late.
been making the tier
Yeah.
list, and then everyone's been posting their tier lists, so that's caused a good old stir.
I could see that. I could see that causing some minor problems. You know.
Just a few.
Not just minor problems, major problems, elite problems, master problems, premier problems.
Oh my god.
Oh, whoa, whoa,
We've
whoa,
been around
whoa.
the league for a while when you
Veteran and
minor
rival
engagement.
problems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen,
Discord tier
listen,
list,
I'm
actually.
listen, I'm old, all right. But yeah, oh my god, it was the funniest thing too, cause now he's my twos teammate, but my threes teammates decided, hey, let's drop a tier list, cause Chips did that the season before, and Chips is still in our chat, and he's like, I want to cause chaos, let's do it again. So we all got in on it, and then just as a afterthought, Skullsy decided to put, next week bottom 15 list coming out. We weren't actually going to do that because that might be that's going to take it too far. And immediately Stoop goes ahead, pings his friend and says, hey, yo, that you. And I laughed so hard. Top tier entertainment.
Jeez.
Elite
I
chat
do
likes to
miss
walk a
having
fine
access to
line.
that.
It's a grand old time.
It's a weird like middle ground between like players who are becoming really sweaty at the game and like the people who know life it. Like it's like in between, right? And
Hey, I touched
don't
elite
know.
once. Never again.
It's- no,
17
dude, it's-
SBB,
it's
baby.
terrible.
I said back to veteran. That's my tier. That's my home.
Like I was in a rival combine and I'm like, man, I'm playing like trash tonight. And everybody's like, yeah, no, you're fine, man. You're good. You're good. I get to elite try out. I say the same thing. They're like, yeah, you should probably just quit. You're pretty bad at the game.
Yeah. Uninstall like now.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think the higher you go, the more cynical it gets. It's not even necessarily toxic. It's just, I think you
Your
get up,
love-hate
you get up.
relationship with Rocket League just expands.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Bex. Didn't mean to totally derail your interview here.
Oh no, it's fine, man. You know, it's really fine. I wasn't here to talk about anything. You're good.
See, Bex would fit right in with Elite Chat. I felt something from that.
I poke my head now and then.
Oh, man. You got captains already figured out, Bex? You already got your...
Do I have captains figured out?
Oh, come on, man. I heard you're
Yeah,
on
that's a little early.
Listen, this is okay. This is how I know that you've never been a GM or an AGM.
Yes,
Do I-
I was an
AGM.
AGM last season. What do you mean?
Oh,
Who has
geez,
captains
wow.
figured out this early?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
That's
I
dedication.
figure out
if I
captains
had
till after
captains
roster lock.
set, if I had captain set before transactions opened, I'd be a psycho. Now, I usually hold some pretty large tryouts at the beginning of the season. I didn't do it this season because a few of my teams were already kind of pre-built just with some friends, so I didn't have to bother. But no, the way I do it, captains really aren't decided until I'm cut down to 4 after preseason, and then from there we kind of figure out who wants to, who doesn't want to, and so on.
I had to yell at Rob when he first took over because he was trying to team build while numbers weren't locked. I was like, dude, stop.
You know,
Listen,
Like-
I do it just to get my dreams crushed.
Oh
But-
yeah, it's,
Oh yeah,
it's painful.
every season.
I did that a little bit and I was like, nah, it's just not worth it. I'll just wait and
Yeah.
wing it.
depending on the season, I've waited till the last week at combines because I'm like, these players are gonna jump around on me like 6 more times. Let's just wait till things kind of lock in a little bit more, and then we'll figure out what's out there.
Yeah,
Hey.
100%.
Procrastination's the best.
Have you guys noticed a trend in the last couple seasons? So, like, when I first was helping out set up tryouts, we would message like 10 people. Only 6 would say, yeah, we could be there. And then, I don't know why, but like last season and this season, if I message someone like, hey, can you be at this contender tryout? We had 11 people message back, yeah, we'll be there, 100%. And it's like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have reached out to a large pool first. Maybe I should have rolled a little slower.
That's
guys notice
interesting.
that?
I think it's been actually an opposite trend due to the new Discord messages request feature.
Really?
I know there's been a lot of talk in GM Hub about trying to get a notice out about that, but we have just been told ping the players individually in the server.
I thought Kate did
but yeah.
that.
They did do an original one, but Shamu really wanted another one. You know, he's always up in arms, pitchforks up.
He's always grinding.
Yeah, he's grinding away in GM Hub right now.
The way I would usually do it is I would invite everyone that I wanted to see and people I haven't seen before in a tier. So I would probably send about 30 to 40 invites. Like at times I'd have like 4 lobbies, but I mean, I'm seeing everyone. You know, it's just making it easier for me to know who I want, who I don't want. So I don't mind the bigger lobbies. I had GM'd in United Rogue before this. And they're not a draft-based league. They're just everyone goes FA at the end of the season, and you can choose who you want to bring back, who you don't want to bring back. And it's just you sign who you want. So kind of used to those big tryouts.
That's just way too much work for me, man. I invite like 7 people, and I'm happy. This last season, though, boss, I'd agree. You know, I usually invite like 10 people, and 7 show up, and I'm stoked because it's like I don't want that many people sitting, or I want to go to 2 lobbies. But I think this last season or 2, like everyone showed up, and I'm like, oh no, what do I do? I don't have enough for a second lobby, but
That was the problem we had a couple days ago. We were sitting there, and it was just we had so many people. It was like, all right, we're gonna have to sit 3 this match, or we might be sitting 4, and it's like,
yeah.
at this point, we might as well just
Yeah.
get a couple more to see if we can get a second lobby going.
If
Yeah, I reached
I
out to some people I
ever,
knew and got them going on a second lobby. They weren't even playing or in that tier, and I was like, I just need players to play.
so Bex, I'd be interested with you. Whenever I get like more than 2 players sitting that aren't scouts, I just try and invite more players en masse to make more lobbies. Do you do multiple lobbies, or do you just have like 10 people all sitting in a lobby, and then you and all your scouts are just hiding in a VC, all watching one screen share? Kind
Oh no, I'm splitting lobbies. Like, I'll have like friends of mine just come in and scout a lobby, like people I trust with recognizing if someone's good or not. So there's been times where I've had 3 lobbies, and I'll have like, if only one of my AGMs are available, I'll have one of my AGMs host a lobby. I'll host a lobby, and then I'll just bring in like a buddy of mine to watch the last lobby, and we'll just be chatting it up while those lobbies are going on, who we like, who we don't like.
You said
Yeah,
Trippin was
I-
one of your AGMs?
I'm sorry?
You said Trippin was one of your AGMs?
Yeah, so this
Who was the other?
this season, Trippin is one of my AGMs, and I have Donald as my second AGM. I had Jammer until they passed the rule that numbers can't be AGMs, and he was ready to lead numbers, but Laz wanted him to finish out this season because they were kind of in like their version of Hell Week.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll get Jammer in here next season.
Donald from Metal?
Yeah, the Donald.
The
Oh,
Donald.
man.
I say I don't think there's another one.
The storied Donald. He's AGM
Donald's
at many a
him.
place.
Yeah, I
Donald
needed
is him.
I needed someone to scout elite and vet, and
Donald will do it for you.
exactly. So he's done a pretty good job so far with elite. We just got to get the ball rolling with vet.
Nice.
I say if you want to send me your scouting notes, feel free because I need to do that myself.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can scout.
sure. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll just get right on that. I'll just give you everything we need. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll just
Nice.
give you all the players I have D&D, and
You
Yeah.
actually want to link to my franchise management tab?
Oh,
Like, I
that'd
can
be
just-
that'd be dope actually. I mean, not to, and I know we're joking a little bit, but in the past we've actually I know there've been GMs that have done similar things before where either stats aggregation before like it became really easy to kind of like get everything to ball chase. I think Hecka set up like a group scouting sheet, basically, public info for any GM that wanted to kind of participate in that. So as long as they were actively uploading the replays, they could kind of see what was coming out of there. Or I think I want to say I traded notes with Jeremy, Chilean's predecessor in the Elements, because of the fact that I got shoehorned into GM at the absolute last second. So I'm like, hey, here's what I know, and he sent me a few things back, so that way I didn't accidentally step on a landmine, if you will.
yeah, that Hecka sheet was really neat, because we had never really had any way to see like how players really did in combines. So the GMs were uploading replays from combines, and they were all being shoved into that sheet. Me personally, I don't really enjoy watching combines. I don't really see them as being like beneficial to me, because half the time you don't know how someone really plays until you get them with like a certain team or like in a smaller tryout where everyone's actually trying to be competitive. But yeah, no, that sheet was still really helpful.
Yeah, I may have gotten my head smacked a little bit. I was in a contender tryout the other day, just kind of trying to help the bakery figure out what their 10 team's going to look like. And I got a message, probably about half an hour later, from an admin going, "Hey, are you just chilling in a Tendy tryout? Like, what are you doing? You're not a franchise."
There's
mad at
no
you
rules
for that?
against it.
I had to explain it, but it was like, I was like, yeah, I'm scouting for Armho Thunder. Like, I'm trying to figure out this Tendy team that I'm going to be coaching. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I thought you were just sitting there.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this public because I brought it up in general, but I don't know how many people saw it. But Cobra Kai's back.
Yep.
Did he rename
Yeah.
as Cobra Kai?
No, he's still Ethereal Bloom.
He's back again.
Ethereal.
But I will say
Dude.
that I made a promise to him this season that if he is a free agent at the end of the season, he is going to play a series in Premier on the last match day. So,
Let's go.
Oh,
Hey, if he is a free agent on the
is he
Yeah,
actually a
that
free
too.
agent?
no, but if he gets drafted and then cut,
Oh yeah, no, I'm all
Uh,
over it. As long as he doesn't leave, I'm on it.
I'm actually glad you brought up his name because yesterday when I was looking through the lobbies and I saw that Amy had 9 DEs and an FA. We're just chilling, and I'm like, they do realize there's no scouts in there, right? Like, has anybody told these people that there's nobody watching?
Yeah, some people just like to chill and hang out and meet the other DEs or people who've been in the league. So
And again, too, there are definitely GMs that are grabbing all of those match infos, or not match infos, match replays, and then maybe watching them back. Oh, look, he's in the chat now. Go team. Yeah, so even if no one's watching, somebody's watching. Tech is like creepy Santa. Creepy Combine Santa. I think that's an image.
he
Bob,
knows
Tyler?
if you've been bad or good.
Fellas, do you have any more questions for Mr. Bex here before we kind of roll into our last 2 rebrandings and wrap things up?
Bex, franchise standing predictions. Where do you think you're going to land this season?
So I think I'm gonna be probably about 31 places higher than Rob this season.
Ooh.
Oh,
He's
dang.
giving you a chance to get him back there.
Anyone saw GM Hub yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't see that, but
That
now
was fun.
now I'm gonna scroll back and see what happened.
Rob shouted out Bex's placement in the standings this season.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then
man.
I made note that I had actually won AGM of the season before. So
Oh. Oh man, I'll salute you
no,
for
I
that
mean-
one.
honestly, like when it comes down to franchise standings, it's just such RNG at the beginning of the season. Like you can plan a team that you think is going to be so good, and then
They get swept.
God knows what happens. They collapse at the beginning of the season, the middle of the season, the end of the season, and it's all just screwed. So, I mean, honestly, 2 of my teams this season I know for sure are just going to be like teams with friends on it that are still going to try, but they're not going to be
Vibes
very
teams.
competitive. Like I'm going to be in Premier this season with a couple buddies, just getting games in. I know my master team, I'm going to try to make a team of friends. So it is what it is. It's a for fun league. So as long as people are having fun, not a big deal.
And honestly, in those higher tiers, if you can feel the team, sometimes that's a win in itself.
What team that
Oh,
shows up?
100%. I've done a pretty good job with it, but there's been some seasons where I'm just so sick of having Prem, but I've had it every season I'm a GM, so
Oh, welcome back.
yeah. Woo, yeah.
Yeah, I dropped Prem as fast as I could when I was a GM. I went for
Yeah.
those lower tiers instead. I was a veteran. I was dead center.
Yeah, we just
As long as
picked
my
up Prem.
SPV isn't negative like it was the last time I was in Prem, I'll be happy.
Real.
Go team.
Go team.
Well, I think that kind of wraps things up with you then, Mr. Bex. Thanks for being on and coming through and giving us the down low on your new rebrand.
Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, no problem, man.
All right, you guys have a good night.
You too,
Hey,
man.
man.
It was good talking with you.
Later, Bex.
Take it easy. All right, now let me do a little bit of transitioning here because we can kind of run through these last 2 rebrands since we've got 2 this season. So, For starters, Bosco rebranding energy into the herd. Everything is llama themed. Who could have guessed?
Did
Man,
not
the
see that one
llama
coming.
profile picture makes a llama themed franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm for not wanting to butcher the tier names. If you're in his franchise or if you're around it, in his information section, you can see the tier names. I cannot pronounce them, so a lot of these I'm just gonna have to kind of ignore. But he did say Vicunas was his favorite. That'll be his rival team.
Very nice. I'm gonna assume that is a breed llamas.
Yeah, that would be
It-
my guess too.
I would assume so. I would assume so.
Oh my goodness.
Another fun one for the casters.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna be rough.
Boz,
I-
why don't you try and say it for us, just to get some practice for if any of those teams are on stream this season? And I
Yeah.
do want the to make fun.
I say yeah.
That's fair.
Because guess what, boss? You're gonna get the llamas versus the maced management, and you're gonna have a grand old
Mace
time on
management,
stream.
I feel like won't be that bad because it'll be like
The trash cringe.
you know, like saying crash tins or whatever. Like that doesn't feel like it's that big of a deal. But when I look at this lineup from Bosco and I go, Challenger is gonna be Krios. Like that's the least of my concerns. Vicunas for rival, Guanacos for veteran.
Sounds pretty good.
I feel
Very
like my-
nice.
I feel like my
For
Midwestern accent is coming out here. Suris from Elite. The Huacayas from Master.
Okay,
That sounds
that'll
pretty
be a
good.
fun one.
That,
And the,
that wouldn't be too bad.
The Huacayans versus the Helicopterions is gonna be a good matchup.
Uh, that's some hell iteration.
How do I even say
Kuchele?
this one? The I
Sound it out. You got it.
Kuchele or Kuchele? I feel like I'm
I-
wrong. I feel like you're.
That sounds good enough to me.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was a god worshipped by Incan herders, believed to be the multicolored male llama who watched over all other animals.
That is an elite name then.
We're getting into
Well, that's a
lore.
premiere.
I guess that's a premiere name. Ha, you beat me to it.
I say I love that. I say in Prem you got the rainbow llama god. That's great.
That is pretty cool.
But that, I mean,
Quality.
that was pretty much what wrapped it up there. And then I know Irish, who was out partying with our boy, did not send me his logo picture for him. So we got a 404 not found on the left. Shout out to Irish. On the right hand side, though, we've got the Art Club. This logo was also made by Hoovian.
Shout out who?
Shout out Hoovian for literally, I think, making almost everything at this point. But I gotta pull it up here because I know Irish sent a list. Actually, it should be in script. You guys should all be able to see it if I remember right.
Yeah, I can see the team names.
Dope. Tier names. He's elite through prospect. Okay, so they gave him the 5. They said you're new GM, you get 5 again. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
These might be a smidge more pronounceable.
Are they? I don't know. I don't know. These look very pronounceable from my standpoint.
I say I'm loving the alliteration too. If
the quality
should,
bench names.
should we go
Look down
through
the
it for?
ABC.
100%.
Yeah, of course.
Tyler, or not, sir. Who said shooting run through it? I couldn't tell.
That's all Moose. Moose, take it away with these
Moose, take
very
it
difficult
away.
names here.
All right, now hopefully alliteration doesn't get my tongue all twisted. So for elite, we'll go top down. We've got the Pixel Picassos, which
Ooh.
I would say great name. Veteran, we got another great name. We got the Mosaic Maestros. In rival, we got the Hue Heroes, and I'm not talking about Hugh like Hugh Hefner. I'm talking about Hue like the colory definition.
The color tin. Yeah.
Exactly. For all you know, Dyer's having an aneurysm as I'm talking about color here. In Challenger, we got Chromatic Chaos, which is what my vision looks like. Yay, red-green colorblind. And then in prospect, we got the Prism Proteges.
Nice.
I did not enunciate that T at all. Proteges. There we go.
No,
Pretty
and
nice.
I know he did say his favorite. Where's it at? There it is. His favorite was Mosaic Maestros. Makes sense. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. These names are really solid all across the board, and they're easy to pronounce. As a caster, I'm gonna be looking at this going, dude, this is great. Like, life's good. Wait, where are you? Yeah, life's good. Life's good.
Definitely no
Yeah,
Tom
no, these
Cruise
are all
here.
these are all pretty solid teams. I'm interested to see what he does from here, as I assume as he holds his GM stature for longer, he'll get more teams, and what those new names that are going to be if he does add, whether that'll be a master team or a contender team or anything along those lines, something like that. He doesn't really have a set theme, I think, which allows him to kind of just do whatever he wants for those names, which is something that's really nice. Like, because if you have a set theme, like,
It's difficult.
for example, the Cosmos does, where you're moving up in power, for example, as your teams get higher. You can't really put anything above, like, the black holes or the quasars or the supernova, or, like, those big names. Like, you can't have something above that, but with Irish's team names, I think the job of just letting himself have complete freedom to do whatever he wants if he adds more teams.
And I know going along with that too, like, I found as a GM or an AGM, some of the best incentive for championship runs is to tell a team that's playing that, hey, you'll get to choose the name for the new new team.
Oh man,
We've
people are never
you know,
gonna let that down.
well, I know I did it for my second ship when I was running the GM side of things. I promised the bolts at the time that I would let them rename to the Cute Boys if they won. I don't know why that's what they wanted, but that's what they wanted. And the Cute Boys pulled it off. Unfortunately, they all dipped the league right afterwards, and I lost, and I didn't have time to GM anymore, so that didn't happen. But you know, like
So funny
Thunder-
story.
go for it.
No. If you have a story, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say in a slightly related note too, like that's how Thunder Buddies came out. I didn't want to deal with the contender team at the time, so I told my 2IC, here, you name it, you deal with it. So that's where we got Thunder Buddies from. But yeah, go for it.
That's funny. I was just gonna say, so in 16, a prospect team had a couple of fruit-related players on it. I had a guy named Kiwi. I drafted a guy named Bananas, and then one of the other players shortly thereafter changed his name to Mango briefly in my server. And so I told them in preseason, if you guys win this season, I'll rename my prospect team to Fruit Salad. And they ended up actually winning in season 16 all of prospect. And so all of last season questions, hey why is your metal themed franchise have a prospect team that used to be named Iron that's now named Fruit Salad? And that was a very interesting story to
To be honest, I thought that was part of the Garden franchise. I did not.
No, yeah, it was a total cluster. Like, everybody's like, oh wow, Garden? Wait, Garden just won? No, oh, sorry, that's
metal.
Yeah.
That's
Come
a
on,
crunchy
how
salad
do you
right
not see
there.
that? Clear connection.
Yeah.
Gotta get your vitamins and minerals somehow.
That,
are
I believe, covers
wrong
everything
kind of
we have
minerals.
for rebranding. I know a lot of teams had new logos, and I'm not gonna lie, I was slacking because I didn't reach out to any of them for the new logos. I've been dealing with a bunch of stuff, getting it ready for the Marbles stream, getting feed his new stuff. But no, I believe that brings us into our last. Actually, I was gonna ask, do we even want to really go into it? We're almost at the 2-hour point. Do we want to go into series suggestions next week?
I'm fine with calling it.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
say, well, we will just have to workshop this next week. We're gonna be back, same back time, same bad place, 9 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So just pop back in, come see who we've got live. We'll talk about some serious suggestions. We can always make it first subject, but my man, we're at 2 hours and I'm ready to call it.
Yeah. This
I
is
think
why
we're all
we
in that same boat.
this is why we do preseason and off-season podcasting, because sometimes you got to take a couple weeks to get it right on timing, and yeah, we may have misinterpreted how long certain things were gonna go.
Oh, it happens. No, it's not a big deal. There's going to be many more weeks of RC we can talk about this stuff, so I'm not worried. But
No.
for those of you who've been tuning in, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. I am still Bastardala. I haven't changed my name. To my left tonight, I've had Mr. Hum. To my right, I've had our two new members, Mr. Tyler D and Mr. A Dead Moose. Should be seeing their faces around sometime in the near future again. But for those of you tuned in tonight, thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
Adios.
Go team.
Yo-
What you know of